Hey you guys, Chaos here. I am back to announce a few future Let's Plays. First of all, I am going to be doing these on ROMs and emulators. This is not because I support piracy in any way, it is simply because of the fact that I found out that a capture card is not really something that I can accomplish as far as I know right now, and the risk that it involves is not one that I'm willing to take, so I'd rather just do ROMs and emulators. And I do own actual copies that I bought with of each of the games that I'll be playing that are ROMs and emulators, so there's that, you know. Um, but uh, music stops, that's because of the ROM. But just so that you guys know, right now for the lineup, and this is subject to change, but right now I'm looking at doing Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Platinum, White 1, and Black 2. And that can change. My hopes is that each nuzlocke will be a different form of a nuzlocke. And for instance, this one here will actually be a little bit unique as compared to all the other nuzlockes. And I've changed a few things around because I've recorded this video probably 20 times now, it feels like. Mostly because of sound, and one because I pushed a hotkey button on accident in the middle of the last recording, and it stopped the last recording like 30 seconds into it. But I will most likely, I can't guarantee it because I don't know how quickly I will get any response whatsoever on this video, but I will most likely be waiting until I start the nuzlocke for this game specifically because of what the nuzlocke will be before I start releasing any of the other nuzlockes. But after I get done doing this, since I've spent all this time recording anyways, I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and then I'm probably going to record the first few episodes of one of the other nuzlocks, and it'll be just whichever one I'll decide will be a random or a regular nuzlocke. No randomizers, no special rules, just a regular nuzlocke. But this one specifically is going to be a subscriber lock. I don't know if anybody's ever done that before. I really hope not, but I'm hoping I'm the first one. Probably not. We'll see. Don't really care. Point of the matter is, this one is going to be a subscriber lock, and what that's going to be is you guys are going to decide what Pokemon I use, all the way down to who is going to replace whoever I pick as my starter, because that will not count. One of the rules that I'm going to be implementing is that every Pokemon must be caught at level 1 and must be shiny. And because I'm doing this on an emulator, I have action replay codes available to me that are a lot easier to use than they are on an actual action replay. And for Black 1 and White 1, unlike most of the other games for the DS, not the 3DS however, the action replay actually allows you to generate in any Pokemon at the specified level choices, or just at a random level based on the location that you want, that is Pokemon that is compatible with that generation. So this is Generation 5, and every Pokemon Generation 5 is compatible with this game, with the exception of the 2 Zekrom fuses, and I don't think you can have the alternate forms of Thundurus, Landorus, and Tornadus. I don't know though. I've never tried. But that's about it. So basically, you guys can even suggest that I have a Mew, and I probably won't start with a Mew, but you can even suggest it. But again, every Pokemon will be caught at level 1 and will be caught at shiny because I have modifiers that allow me to do that. And the level 1, that's just for because of the fact that honestly I can't stand catching a Pokemon at level 20 or above, because there's so many things that I no longer have control over that I would have had if I would have caught it at a really early level. And then I end up breeding any Pokemon that I catch that is, you know, really any Pokemon at that point that I have, I end up breeding, and then I go through this long bout of breeding Pokemon, and it just kind of kills the game for me. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Point of the matter is, you guys will be able to request any Pokemon. There will be some exceptions, however. The first exception is the no duplicate rule. The no duplicate rule is kind of like the dupes rule. If a Pokemon of that species has already been caught and has died, or currently is a part of my team, whether it be in my party or in my PC waiting to become a part of my team, that Pokemon cannot be suggested again. So let's say that this is the team that you guys have suggested for me so far, and somebody wants me to have a Tenpig. Well, I already have a Tenpig in my party, so it can't be done. And if that Tenpig dies, I still can't have a Tenpig in my party because it has died. However, there are exceptions to this rule, and I'm going to call that the Eevee exception, because Eevee is the most obvious example of that. Certain Pokemon have different evolutionary lines based on what you do with them. So if you get an Eevee, in Generation 5 you have Jolteon, Vaporeon, Flareon, Umbreon, Espeon, Leafeon, Glaceon. You have all of those available to you. Yeah, that's all of them, because Sylveon isn't available. And if I have an Eevee, and it's a Vaporeon, and it dies, then you are able to request that I have another Eevee. However, the rule with multiple evolutionary line Pokemon like Eevee or Clamperl as another example is that if you request that I have an Eevee, or if you request that I have a Clamperl, you also have to request what I evolve it into. So if you request an Eevee, you have to tell me whether you want it to be a Vaporeon or a Leafeon or whatever. And if I've already had a Vaporeon, you can't request that I have another Vaporeon. You have to request that I have an Eevee that is of a different evolution. So that pretty much narrows it down. Also included in that exemption is Nidoran, and I think that's actually the only one. But Pokemon like Nidoran, because there may be others that I just can't think of right off the top of my head. I mean, there's only like 700 now, but that are basically two completely different species, because Nidoran female evolves into Nidorina and then Nidoqueen, whereas Nidoran male evolves into Nidorino and Nidoking, and they're very distinct Pokemon distinctly different Pokemon as they evolve. I mean, they're still the same typing, mostly the same moves, but they have different stats, they have some different moves, things like that. So those Pokemon are not counted as the same species. And then the other major rule is that if a legendary Pokemon can be caught legitimately in the game, like for instance Zekrom, because this is white, then you cannot suggest that I just randomly have a Zekrom at some random point in the game. However, if you guys want me to still have Zekrom, then you can suggest that once I get to the point where I can capture Zekrom, Zekrom will have its own special encounter clause, and I can capture it. And if I successfully am able to capture it, then off screen in the next episode, if enough of you want me to use Zekrom, then I will go ahead and I will apply the same basic rules to Zekrom, which is that it must be caught at level 1 and it must be shiny. So I would actually be going through the coding and then going through in some route and walking in the grass and encountering a level 1 shiny Zekrom, which really wouldn't take that long. But anyways, another one of the things is that all the catching will be done off screen. For this at least, that will make the nuzlocke, in my opinion, more suspenseful and entertaining for you guys, because you guys say, hey, I want you to use this, and I decide to use it. You won't know that until the next episode airs, which will be at the very least a week from the day that I aired the episode that you most recently saw. So, you know, there's that. Oh, and I missed a whole thing on the legendaries rule. If they can be caught legitimately in the game, they have to be caught legitimately in the game and then replaced with a duplicate that follows the rules. If they cannot be caught legitimately in the game, and the best example of this is Mew, because it can't be caught legitimately in the wild in any game. Excuse me. I don't know why I just turned my head, because it was still in the mic. Then they can still be suggested, but that doesn't mean that it is guaranteed that they will be used, because I'm not going to have a team of nothing but legendaries. It's too overpowered, and it just doesn't fit with the whole thing, you know, being that it is a nuzlocke challenge. Meaning that it is intended to be challenging. So that won't be happening. But anyways, so that's the legendaries, and you know, you can't ask for duplicates of other Pokemon and things like that. Post game, I will either do all of the post game with my nuzlockes, or I will do bits and pieces, or do the post game in the order that you guys want to see me do the post game in. That all depends on responses that I get from you guys. If you guys don't talk about the post game at all, then I'm just going to assume that you guys want me to do all of the post game. And then if I don't get any views on the post game, then that means you guys are just done with the let's play. And at that point, I'll be uploading videos for no fucking reason. But it's whatever. And lastly, just a heads up, because these are nuzlockes, I personally do not consider nuzlockes to be a kid-friendly watching experience. And because of that, my videos are not going to be kid-friendly. There will be cursing. I will not be using every bit of my mental power to stop myself from cursing, because it is a bad habit. It is a habit. And more often than not, you don't even realize that you cuss until you think about it, or someone's pointed it out to you. Also, these are going to be nuzlockes. That means that there is going to be metaphorical death. Because of that, there is just way too much room for dark and dry humor. And I will most definitely be doing a wedlock, which will leave plenty of metaphorical room for maybe a handful of dirty jokes. If you can't handle that, or you're not of the age where you should be watching that, then this isn't the nuzlocke for you. Go watch somebody else's nuzlocke, or better yet, you really shouldn't be watching a nuzlocke if you're young enough that you can't handle a little bit of dark humor or some middle school level, you know, potty jokes, because, you know, I'm not gonna do anything like horribly nasty on my channel. But anyways, so that's that. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to start on whatever version will be my regular nuzlocke. I haven't decided which one it will be. And you guys probably won't find out until this one starts, but ultimately the goal is to have, in the best cases, a video uploading every day, or at least 5 days a week. And hopefully with you guys' help, that'll be great. In the meantime, what I need you guys to do is in the comments below, where everyone can see your suggestions, so that you know, I can see your suggestions because I don't like social media and I almost never get on Facebook. I've completely forgotten my login information to Twitter because that was really boring, and just all that. I'm sorry, you guys. I can't do the social media thing. It bores me to death, and it's pointless, and I see my wife nonstop on Facebook, which makes me hate social media. So, there's that. But in the comments below, where I, as well as everyone else, can see them, please comment on your suggestions for Pokemon that you want me to use. And remember that it's basically open to anything at this point. And the more suggestions you give me now, the more likely that those suggestions will be used, whereas later in the series, they will not be as likely to be used. There will most likely be competition, and there will be, less chances for me to use them as well. Also, if you guys would please, I don't want to start this until I have 6 suggestions, which would be my starter, Route 1, Route 2, the first half of Dream Yard, Route 3, Wellspring Cave, and Pinwheel Forest. Now that doesn't mean that while I'm doing those episodes that involve those locations, you cannot still suggest Pokemon to be used. In fact, if you guys aren't suggesting Pokemon for me to use, it will slow down the Let's Play, or the Nuzlocke. So you don't want to stop suggesting Pokemon for me to use. And if you would please suggest multiple Pokemon, it just makes it easier on everyone. And I don't do Nuzlockes personally, and I don't nickname my Pokemon personally. That's actually one of the biggest reasons why I don't do Nuzlockes, because I just don't like nicknaming Pokemon. So whenever you suggest a Pokemon, if you really want to make my life easy and you really want to make it really good chances that your suggestion will be picked out of the billions that I'm sure I'm gonna get, because we live in a perfect world and all, then please suggest a nickname to go along with it. And like I said, if it has multiple routes that it can take on its evolutionary line, it will be completely ignored unless you let me know what Pokemon specifically you want it to evolve into. So if you suggest a Ralts, that Ralts will not be used unless you tell me whether you want it to be a Gardevoir or... dang it, I always forget the name of that Pokemon. Galay? I think, I don't know. Butcher me in the comments for that. I don't mind. I don't care. But anyways, you guys, until then, I'm signing off, and I really hope that nothing went wrong with this video. Game on, bros.